Hi there, freelance friends. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. Always nice to see you. Today, we're going to talk about the reality of difficult clients and setting boundaries with those clients. Now, for the most part, I am lucky. I really do have great clients. But like every freelancer, I also have that one client story. The one that raises your blood pressure when you think about them. The one that reminds you why boundaries matter. So recently, I had my own unplanned refresher course in boundaries and client management. One that I did not ask for, but one that reminded me of exactly what I need to do. So the situation was an emergency, but that wasn't the problem. It was the person. So a client reached out to me because they were facing a legitimate emergency. I'd worked with their team before. This was a group of people that I respected. I felt like they were competent and organized and very appreciative of the work that I had done for them in the past. Now, this particular situation required a quick turnaround and would require some weekend work. Of course, weekend work is not usually ideal, but I was willing to help in this circumstance. Emergencies happen. I get it. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I met with the team members. We formulated a plan. We aligned on what would be delivered when, and I provided an update before I signed off for the day. But then things took a turn. After 4 p.m. on a Friday, another team member, someone who I had never worked with and who wasn't in on the planning meeting that we'd had earlier in the day, sent me a message asking if I was going to help because they had an urgent need. The message came after I had already signed off for the day, so I didn't respond as soon as the message arrived. So this person escalated the request to leadership of the company that I was working for on a Friday. Over an hour of no response after 4 p.m. at a company where I am a freelancer, not a full-time employee. Over weekend work that I had pretty graciously, in my opinion, already agreed to do. It was unreasonable, unprofessional, and frankly, insulting. Not just to me as a freelancer, but to me as a human being who, like everyone else, is allowed to end their workday without fear of being reprimanded by a client for not being on call. So, in the end, I did complete the task, not because I felt any obligation to the difficult woman, but because I want to maintain my relationship with the rest of the team, the ones who are grateful, respectful, and genuinely appreciative of my help. And those team members were grateful. They thanked me profusely. They acknowledged my effort. They acknowledged that I put in the time on the weekend when that was not required, and reinforced that they valued my partnership. But their gratitude honestly didn't erase the negative aspect of the situation. In fact, if anything, I feel that it clarified something important. I will not overextend myself for that particular individual again. If she reaches out in the future with last minute demands, the answer will be a simple, professional, I am not able to fulfill that task on this timeline. I need advanced notice. And I feel this way because she showed me that she will not respect my time, my boundaries, or my role as a freelancer. I am a partner to this organization, not a full-time employee. Because to be honest, no amount of money is worth being treated in a subpar fashion. And I know that this has been said by many other people before, but difficult clients are not just annoying, they actually end up to be an expense to you. Now, let me explain that. You may wonder how that happens. I feel like we don't talk about this enough in freelancing, but a difficult client doesn't just cost you time, it costs you energy. They cost you mental bandwidth. They cost you the headspace you need for other clients, those who value you, and just your personal time too. They infringe upon that by taking up some of that headspace. And it's my experience that those negative interactions drain you long after the actual work task is done. They have a way of creeping into your weekend and your personal time. They also overshadow all of the good work and associated good feelings that you have about that good work, because they can make you second guess yourself. And that can reduce your excitement for other projects. And as I've mentioned before, for freelancers, energy is currency. So the 5 things that this experience reinforced for me are, first, I and you are not on call unless you are being paid to be on call in advance. Signing off at the end of your workday is a normal thing to do. Not responding within an hour is normal. Being unavailable during evening hours, also normal. And anyone who treats your silence as non-compliance is a huge red flag. Second, emergencies do not entitle clients to bypass your boundaries. I understand that this team had an emergency and I was willing to work with them on that. So I feel like I was choosing to help out of goodwill. But goodwill is my choice. That is not their entitlement. Third, one unreasonable person, one in this circumstance, should not ever dictate your worth. In this case, the rest of the team valued me. One person didn't. That's not a reflection on me. 4, you can complete the job without granting future access. So as I mentioned, in this case, I did the work to keep the peace. But that doesn't mean that I am going to leave the door open for repeat behavior. And you don't have to either. 5th, protecting our energy protects our business. Toxic interactions do not end when the email thread does. They linger and they drain you. Anyone who has been through an experience like this is likely to understand what I mean. And that drain can interfere with the clients who do treat you well, because it has shifted something in your mindset, in your attitude, at least temporarily. So the biggest lesson here to summarize is that hard clients are always going to exist. We cannot control that, but we can control who gets continued access to our time, our skills, and our emotional bandwidth. Freelancing isn't just about managing projects. A lot of it is about managing people, their expectations, along with your own boundaries. And sometimes the smartest business decision you can make is to create distance from those clients who cost you more than they pay you. You don't have to work with everyone who asks. You don't have to be available every minute. You don't have to tolerate disrespect disguised as urgency. Your business is likely to go stronger the moment that you realize this. Because peace is profit, boundaries are strategy, and the right clients will never punish you for being human. I hope that helped as you navigate your own difficult clients. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if it was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.